We're going on an adventure. We're gonna have some fun. Bring a bunch of snacks and invite everyone. Do, 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 do. Oh, hey, I didn't see you there, kids. I'm just getting ready to go play with my good friend Baby Bear later today. We are going on a scavenger hunt, and we have a long list of things that we need to find. Though, I have a feeling that even with the map of the Wacky Woods, somehow we are going to get lost. It happens all the time with Baby Bear. But somehow we always have a good time, even when things don't go quite right. I was thinking about all the fun that I have with Baby Bear. And I came up with a great idea for a new story about a bunch of friends who go on an adventure. I call this story Sticky Feet and Friends and the Waterfall of Wonders. Well, I think you guys all know what that means, right? That's right, it's story time with me, Little Kitten. Sticky Feet and Friends and the Waterfall of Wonders. A silly story by me, Little Kitten. Deep in the funky fuzzy forest, you will find 5 best friends who love to go on adventures. Sticky Feet, the crested gecko, is curious and always getting into trouble. There's Tiny, the tree frog, who never stops bouncing and leaping before he looks. Sweetie is a brave sugar glider who loves to soar above the trees. Ruby, the red panda, is clever and has the best sense of smell. Tipper is a tortoise who is slow but wise and never goes anywhere without his trusty backpack. One day, Sticky Feet overheard his mom and dad talking about a secret waterfall known as the Waterfall of Wonders. He didn't hear everything they said, but what he did catch made his ears tingle. Words like sparkling waters, magical, and secret were enough to convince him that he needed to gather all his friends and set out on a new mission. Find that waterfall. He tells his mom and dad that he is going to play with his friends, and they remind him, like they always do, be careful and don't get into trouble. He promises them, just like he always does, sticky problems are always solved by Sticky Feet. He finds Tiny jumping on the lily pads outside his house. Are you ready for a new adventure? Always. Tiny leaps onto Sticky Feet's back. Let's go! Sweetie lives on one of the tallest trees in the forest, but that was not a problem for Sticky Feet, who climbs to the very top in seconds. They find her hanging upside down from one of the branches. Hey, Sticky. Hey, Tiny, she says to them. How's it hanging? Tiny asks her. They all giggle at his silly joke. Are you up for an adventure? Always, she says. Let's go! Sweetie opens her arms and legs wide and jumps off the branch she's hanging onto. She soars through the trees and lands safely on the ground. The 3 of them set off to find the rest of their friends. They find Tipper sleeping inside his shell just outside his house. Anyone in there? Sticky Feet asks as he knocks on Tipper's shell. Tipper pokes his head out. I'm sleeping, can't you see? We're going on an adventure, Sweetie tells him. All right, fine. I guess I can nap later. Tipper grabs his backpack from inside and they set off towards Ruby's house. They get to Ruby's house and she's nowhere in sight. Where are you, Ruby? Tiny calls out. They hear a giggle coming from behind a thicket of bamboo. Ruby, we can hear you, says Sticky Feet. Ruby stays quiet. We're going on an adventure, Tipper says. She quickly pops her head out of the bamboo shoots. Well, why didn't you say so? Let's go. As they walk through the forest, Tipper finally asks, Sticky Feet, where are we going? Sticky Feet tells them all about the Waterfall of Wonders. They all look at each other and smile, except Tipper. He's always more cautious about their adventures than the rest of them. How will we find it? He asks. Don't you have Grandma Shelly's special map? Sweetie reminds him. Tipper stops, takes off his backpack, and searches through all the things he stuffed in there. Finally, he pulls out a map. Here it is. They all gather in a circle and look down at the map. Tiny points to a spot on the map. It doesn't show a waterfall, but there's an X right there. How do we know the X is the waterfall? Ruby asks Sticky Feet. Sticky Feet just smiles. X marks the spot, guys. I bet that's where we'll find our secret. We have to go through the Giggly Vine Grove, past the Snapdragon tree, and cross the Ripper Snort River to get to that spot, Sweetie tells them. What are we waiting for? Tiny takes off leaping and bouncing. Wait up! They all yell. They all stop as soon as they reach an area of the forest thick and tangled with vines blocking their path. No problem. I'll hop over them, Tiny yells as he jumps and bounces off a vine with a loud boing sound and lands in a puddle. Let me glide over them, Sweetie says as she zips up in the air and ends up tangled in the vines. Help! She yells. Ruby sniffs. These vines smell like sour mangoes. You know what that means, right? That means that they're ticklish. So she tickles one of the vines, and it giggles and opens up. Then the rest of the vines giggle and start to open right up, and Sweetie is finally able to get free. The friends walk through. Soon the path ends, and they all look up. A very tall tree stands in their way. What do we do now? Ruby asks. This must be the snapdragon tree, says Tipper. They all look up and see the beautiful flowers that fill the large tree and get a little scared. They had all heard about how the snapdragons like to trap whatever comes close to them. I know what to do, Tipper, the wisest of the friends, says. Grandma Shelly said that snapdragons close up when they hear noise. How about we whistle while we climb? Sweetie suggests. Great idea, Sticky Feet says. They all start whistling as they climb higher and higher. The friends see the flowers start to close up and get excited. A little while later, after climbing for what feels like forever, they see the other side of the forest. They cheer loudly as they climb down the huge tree. They all breathe a sigh of relief when they make it to the bottom and see a stone path. They walk along until they come to a small but fast-moving and loud river. They see a very narrow path of wiggly stones that start on one side and end on the other side of the water. This is definitely the Ripper Snort River, says Ruby. We have to cross those little stones. Tipper sounds scared. He is the biggest of the friends, and they all have to admit that the stones look small and kind of tipsy. We can do this, guys, Sticky Feet tells them. I'll go first. He skitters across quickly. Tiny tries to bounce from stone to stone. He's almost there when he suddenly slips and lands in the water. Help! Help! He yells. I'll save you, Sweetie says. She leaps high in the air and glides easily down. She swoops close to the water and grabs one of Tiny's arms and pulls him up. Thanks, sweetie. You saved my skin, Tiny squeals. Ruby tiptoes across the stones as lightly as she can and makes it to the other side. Sticky Feet, Tiny, Sweetie, and Ruby all watch as Tipper very slowly steps onto the first stone. Just 5 more minutes and I'll be there. You can do it! They all yell at him as he makes it to the other side. When the friends all turn around, the forest is so thick that they can barely see anything in front of them. The friends start pushing and pulling branches and leaves so they can get through. Finally, they see bright sunlight peeking in between the trees and walk towards it. They also hear a loud sound they've never heard before. The sound gets louder and louder, and the light gets brighter and brighter, until it's so bright that all 5 of them have to close their eyes. They stop and wait a bit with their eyes shut tight. Sticky Feet, feeling brave, opens one eye. Wow, guys! Open your eyes! You've got to see this! They all do as he says, and at the same time they all say, whoa! In front of them is a huge waterfall surrounded by trees and flowers in every color. This must be the Waterfall of Wonders, says Ruby. Woohoo! Tiny shouts and jumps really high and belly flops into the water. Ruby takes her time and smears all the flowers around her before she jumps in and joins Tiny. Sweetie and Sticky Feet climb a nearby tree. When they both get to the top, they do a countdown. 1, 2, 3, go! Then they jump. Sweetie soars and glides, while Sticky Feet falls straight down and they land in the water with 2 huge splashes. As the rest of his friends swim around, Tipper stays on the shore and happily watches them while munching on some leaves. Best day ever, he shouts. Best day ever, they all shout back at him. I can't wait for our next adventure, Tiny says. It's always fun when we stick together, Sticky Feet jokes, and they all laugh. The end. Well, there you go, kids. I hope you liked the story about Sticky Feet and all his friends. I loved writing this story, and I think I'm going to have to write more stories about those characters. Imagine all the adventures that Sticky Feet, Tiny, Sweetie, and Ruby, and Tipper can go on. Maybe they find some treasure. Or maybe they fly to space. Or maybe they just need to rescue someone. Oh boy, so many ideas. Oh no, I forgot about the time. I have to go now and have my own adventure with Baby Bear. Bye everybody. I guess I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe.